Hey guys, welcome back to Reverse 1999. In today's video, I want to go through some of the biggest mistakes you want to avoid making in the game. Now, before we do so, we did just hit 15,000 subscribers on this new channel. I can't thank you guys enough, so we are going to do another $100 giveaway in this video. Just be subscribed and leave a comment on the video, and you'll go into the draw. We'll draw it about a week away. We've got the other one going on the tier list, which will be drawn in about 3 days as well, and I announced the winners on community post. But once again, a massive shout out. I can't believe how much support I've gotten through the Reverse 1999, and I really appreciate it. But mistakes to avoid in the game. Now, the first mistake we're going to cover is one, because you always get comments in videos like this, and I want to cover it from the start. First mistake is listening to anyone on the internet about what you should do with your account if you just want to have fun. Games are about fun. Do whatever you enjoy, and if something that's sort of min-maxy or optimal isn't enjoyable to you, don't do it. Have fun. You're playing a game. That's why we play them. That is the first thing. I just wanted to get that out of the road. But the rest of the things I'm going to talk about are more about account progression, optimization, and stuff like that, if that is what you're interested in. So the first one is, I made a whole video on this yesterday, but it's not going, and a lot of these are not going to be like mistakes like you did this and it ruined your account. It's more, you didn't do this and now you're losing for it. But the first one is ignoring the wilderness. Now, I mentioned that it's the first thing that I wanted to farm to upgrade all these towers to max. Now, they can go up one more, but you need to progress further in the game to do that. But getting all of these things upgraded to level 5 is a priority for me, because it gives you just so much more dust and gold to be able to progress the rest of your account. And doing this very early on is great, because then you reap the rewards forever. Whereas if you wait 2 months to do it, well, you've missed out on a bunch of rewards, but then you've also gone and put the investment in to do it, but you've just missed out on rewards. So I think farming this early, only do it when you can farm the stage that drops these bad boys at max difficulty. I got a whole video on it if you want to watch it, but essentially get on top of your wilderness. Don't ignore it at the start. I often hate these types of features, the housing type systems. I never like them, but if they've got resources in them, I still jump in and make them a priority, because AFK loot at the end of the day is going to help you progress your account, and that is what I want to prioritize. So don't make the mistake of ignoring the wilderness. The next one we're going to talk about is a very obvious one, but I do want to mention it for people that are... And the other thing with the wilderness, rewards max out every 16 hours. So basically every time I log into the game, I just click wilderness and I go and I collect the loot. Otherwise, if I try and time it right, like I might get it wrong. So like here, 15%, I'm not going to bother doing it for the video, but I just always log in, see where it's at, collect the loot. That way I stay on top of it and I don't miss out, because you don't want it to cap either. The next one we're going to talk about is your stamina usage, the activity they call it in this game. Very basic things. You don't want to make the mistake of letting it over cap, because if you go to refreshes, I've done a couple refreshes today for gems. Now, I never tell anyone to refresh with gems. It's a personal decision. Early game in these games, I do like 2 to 3 refreshes per day for maybe the first week, just to get my account boosted a little bit faster and clearing more things. That's the way I like to play it, and then I just drop off. But I never tell people to actually refresh the candies or stamina in any game, because it's a personal preference, because you are sacrificing to summons to do it. And like I said at the start, it's about fun. So, you know, it's a trade-off. I think it's probably inefficient for me to spend too much on candy, but hey, I like playing the game, and that's what I enjoy. Plus, I always re-roll for a good account, so I've got a bunch of decent units, so I'm happy to put that little bit of an investment in. But that's not what I'm talking about. The thing I'm talking about is letting it over cap, because you don't want this stamina over cap, because like we just showed, it is bloody expensive to buy the stuff. So if you let it over cap for a day and you miss out on all that stamina that just gets generated AFK, it's going to hurt. So you really don't want to let this stuff over cap. The other thing is with these candies, you can also view them over in your warehouse. I've used all mine. They come in the consumables. But essentially with these, you want to keep an eye on the timer. Don't let the timer run out, because then you just lose stamina, which once again, we mentioned, it's very expensive to buy this stamina in the game with premium currency, so you want to stay on top of that. Okay, so the next mistake you want to avoid is completely ignoring the tasks, especially these beginner tasks down here. Now, you can ignore some of these growth ones if you don't want to build the characters, and you don't need to for any reason. You'll see that I upgraded Apple, who gives me a refund because I needed to get a star character or the blue element character up to a certain level for one of these missions, so I did that. But essentially, you don't want to ignore these. these. You can see I'm on to Act 9. There's 9 acts all up. So now with these last few, I'm not trying to rush through them, but you do get a lot of resources through these acts, including you get like extra 5-star Psy cubes. I was about to say light cones, but you get some 5-star Psy cubes through here, which are nice. So you get a lot of progression mats in here, experience, all that stuff, plus what you get through the act of clearing it. So don't ignore this and just leave it. If there's a mission that looks a bit tedious, for instance, there's one like, you know, level a specific type of character to Insight 1. It seems frustrating, but for instance, I had to do a beast character up to Insight 1 level 10, and I had no beasts worth investing in, so I just had to do this character. She does get refunds up to level 23, so it wasn't too many resources, but you know, I put this off for about a day or two, and then I'm like, I'm being an idiot, and the amount of resources I got from just like spending on that, it was completely worth it. So don't ignore those because there's something annoying. As you can see, I did Apple for a mission. I had to do regulars for a star element character for a mission. So those that have been looking at my account and say where did I get regulars from? I decided to do 2 10 pulls on the Sotheby banner to try and get a Charlie. So I had a worthwhile blue element unit to build because I had to build up 2 for the mission. One was Apple. And I pulled a Regulus. So my account's luck is insane. But yeah, so don't ignore the missions. They are very important. But then moving on from that is don't just willy-nilly go upgrading everything. Obviously, it's a new game for a lot of people, so you know, feel free to experiment as much as you feel like you need to. But essentially, you really want to narrow down on the main units that you want to build. So for me, these characters here have all been... Sotheby was an experiment, but she's not going to be good for me until basically patch 1.2 when I play Poison Meta with a new character. But essentially, you got to narrow down on the main characters you want to build. For me, I'm focusing on my main DPS first. Anne Lee is like a sub DPS / support, so I wanted to invest in her. These two are just both supportive, so I'm mildly investing into them. But the next character I am investing into is my Eternity, and I'm going to slowly start building her up to the point of my A Knight, purely because I will start needing my second team, and I need my second core damage dealer, and that's going to be it. But don't go building too many units, and have some versatility in your roster. For instance, I got damage dealer, support, healer, and support there. So it just kind of balances out my single team. But then when I look at this and if I just build up my Eternity, so I've got 5 units semi-built, it'll be 3 pretty well built, 2 very semi-built. But what I'll be able to do is I'll be able to distribute those units evenly amongst 2 teams, 1 team of 2 main units and 1 team of 3 main units until I build out the rest of my roster. And that'll be very beneficial for me. For instance, I could run Eternity with Bloom and Balloon Party, and then A Knight and Anne Lee. Or, you know, the other way around. I could run A Knight with Balloon Party and Beacon Bloom, and then I could run Anne Lee with Eternity because Eternity self-heals, stuff like that. So just don't go trying to invest too hard into too many units. First unit I recommend building is going to be a damage dealer. They're going to be the main one that carries you through, but eventually you will need a second damage dealer for content that bans the team that you used in the previous round, so you will need to build a second team. But yeah, just narrow in on the units that you really want to build across your account. Like I said, always I recommend in a team having a damage dealer, a support unit, and a healer if you can. If not, damage dealer 2 supports or damage dealer sub DPS support. Depends what you've got on your account. Everyone is going to be different. I've been pretty lucky, so I can build a pretty stable account. The next one is going to be another one of those things that should be on your daily checklist so you don't forget to do it, because if you forget to do it, it's going to hurt. And that is over here on the resources, and that is for the Psy Cube farming. Now, as you can see, I've cleared 6, I'm up to 7, but essentially you get 2 free attempts at this every day. And the thing about those free attempts when you use them is that it doesn't, maybe I have to go into one that I've, maybe I can't see it in this one, but yeah, so because I don't have any of the attempts left, it's showing me that I get a fixed 2 of these drop for each run, but that's costing me 27 stamina. I don't recommend farming this. That is not what I recommend, but you get 2 free attempts every day, and those free attempts both guarantee you 5 of these as a drop. So the drops are much better from those daily ones, and you get 2 of them per day, and if you miss them, it really does kind of hurt. So definitely stay on top of that, put this on your checklist, and don't miss out on doing these every day. The next mistake is to do with summons. Now, you can do what you want in this case, but for this one, I wanted to bring the awareness to it once again, is that the standard banner and banners with rate up characters have separate pities. So I don't see too much reason in pulling on the standard banner outside of maybe like in your rerolls because you're going for a specific character that isn't one of these two. But just keep in mind, as the game goes on, when we look at characters like Sotheby and also A Knight, they are standard banner units, so you will be able to pull them from banners in the future as well. So in the long term, like I said, in this launch phase, it's different. We're trying to build out our accounts and stuff like that. But in general, I would recommend focusing your summons mainly on new and exclusive characters that are not on the standard banner and you can't get anywhere else. But once again, you can make that decision to do it if you want, but I just like to avoid summoning on the standard banner, particularly because if there is a standard banner character you want, more than likely than not, they will come in the form of one of these banners as a rate up, so then you'll have a chance to get them, and whilst getting them, maybe they have a good 5-star as well that you want to aim for as well. So I definitely recommend avoiding that standard banner outside of rerolls and stuff like that. But once again, if games are about fun, so if there's a character that's on the standard banner that you really want, for a lot of people it's Centurion, and you just want to keep going for it, go nuts, but it's just at your own risk. And the final one that I wanted to look at, now this one is more subjective on your play style when we look at the pawn shop, but with these records, I like buying the summons from here because summons are a bit of a scarce resource. Some may argue that yeah, you can get more progression by buying these resources, but one summon equaling the cost of 16,000 dust, it just doesn't weigh up for me, especially if you've gone and done the first thing, which is upgrade your wilderness, so you're getting those AFK rewards. I think the value is just stronger in summons because it is such a scarce resource, and you want to pick it up. So that is the final one that I wanted to cover, that pawn shop. Getting those, you do summons, you get records, you also get them from your weeklies and stuff like that. I recommend picking up the summons. You are limited monthly, so pick them up for the month and then move on from there. And that is pretty much all I can think of as major mistakes to avoid. Now, I will be going through things like if we go into the fragment shop, I will be making a video on that later today because we will be getting the selector for our beginner logins of the selector 6-star, and I will do a whole thing talking about this, but I feel like that's a whole video in itself. But anyway, guys, don't forget, be subscribed, leave a comment, you'll go into the draw. As always, thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.